very astute. Absolutely. Every ruling elite back through the history of mankind has been concerned with the bloodline. Back to the ancient Sumerians, to the Babylonians, the Syrians, the Phoenicians, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, to the Caesars, to the royalty of Europe, and even now over into this country. You all are aware, aren't you, that Barack Hussein Obama is a cousin to Dick Cheney?
Yes.
That is not theory. That was pointed out by Dick Cheney's wife, Lynn. Okay? And that means then the Cheneys are somehow distantly related to the Bushes. The Bushes are directly related to John Kerry and to Al Gore, which means that the Gores and the Kerrys and the Bushes are all blood relations to the Windsors, the ruling family of England. Again, that's not conspiracy theory, that's conspiracy fact. And in fact, almost all but a handful of U.S. presidents have all been some way related. So in other words, right on down to the Nazis, everybody is concerned with the bloodline. Who's your daddy? Okay? And why is that? I submit to you because it goes back to what the Sumerian tablets talk about when kingship was brought to the humans. They decided they had a problem. They didn't want to dirty their hands with messing with the humans. So they take these hybrids that they were creating and they would make them the leaders, the kings, the overseers. They'd give them the orders, and the overseers would see that the human workers did what they were told. And this has become racial memory and has traveled all the way down till today when they say, if you're of the bloodline, then you are fit to rule. And so now we see why Barack Obama was picked out of nowhere, and probably, by all accounts, not even an American citizen, and built up, created. Who paid his way to Harvard? Anybody know? And why can't we see his school records? That thing gets me. I mean, if you go to work for any corporation, they want to see your transcripts, right?
They want to see everything.
They want to see everything, and you show it to them. I'll show mine. I'll show you my transcripts. I wasn't that good a student, but I graduated. Okay, and I'll show you my birth certificate. Okay, we can't see his birth certificate. We can't see his school records. Why school records? Because he's probably here as a foreign exchange student. Okay, now why is this important? When you go talk to your Obama friends, and they're going to go, well, he was elected, who cares, you know. Let me tell you why it matters. It has nothing to do with Barack Obama. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with law. Are we a nation of law, or are we a lawless nation? A lawless nation is at the whims of whoever gets in control. They make the laws, and that's the way it's going to be. Does that begin to sound familiar? Because that's kind of where we are. If we say it doesn't matter that the Constitution says only a natural-born citizen can be President of the United States, and we blow that off, then we've blown off the Constitution of the United States, and we are a lawless nation. And I submit to you that this may be the plan. Because come to 2012, they're probably going to try to put Arnold Schwarzenegger in the White House, and when people say, yeah, but he's not constitutionally qualified, they'll say, well, neither was Obama, and we're okay with him. Worst case scenario is that some judge finds the cojones to order a subpoena for Obama's birth certificate, and we find out he was not born in Hawaii. The only thing they produced out of Hawaii is a certificate of live birth, which says he was born. Okay, great. No doctor's signature, no hospital, no nothing can be checked, and you can go down and register anybody with a certificate of live birth. Mine has a doctor's signature in the hospital and the date and the time and everything else.
Pretty sure they got a shrine in Nairobi now where his birthplace is.
Everybody in Kenya says, man, thank God one of our own people is now President of the United States, including his grandmother, okay? But of course you don't get to hear about that either. But again, it has nothing to do with Barack Obama. The danger comes is if they, at some point, a year down the road or whatever, that they say, some judge issues a subpoena, we find out indeed he was born in Kenya, then the whole thing blows up, and where are we? Every decision he's made, every legislation that's passed, every law that's passed becomes null and void.
Every bailout he passed.
Everything. It's all by the boards because it's all illegal and not and unconstitutional. Okay, again, are we a nation of law or are we a lawless nation? And then the real danger comes because then they're going to say, we need a constitutional convention. And we need to change, revise the Constitution. You already hear this already. Are you aware we're only 3 states away from a constitutional convention?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 3 states, if they say we want one, we get one. And when you convene a constitutional convention, there is nothing to restrict them to only one item in the Constitution. They can change the whole thing. Now think about it a minute, folks. Just use your head. Every lobbyist, every corporate bagman will be there. It will turn into a circus. The Second Amendment will no longer say the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. It will be the right to bear arms is centered within the police agencies and the military. All right, they'll change up everything in the Constitution, and everything that you grew up with in this country will be gone. That's why it's important. Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you think the founding generation might have been clued into some of this in that they were trying to break away from it?
Yes.
The kingship, the bloodlines, all that BS, they were sort of trying to say, hey, we don't want this.
Okay, but the question is, was the founding generations possibly aware of this kingship, this royalty, this bloodline? And the answer is very definitely yes. Okay, they may not have had the same words and the same semantics that we're using because they probably had very little or no concept of space flight or other worlds, but they knew. In fact, let's go back and look at the whole history of Western civilization. Nobody will argue with the fact that it began between the Tigris-Euphrates rivers, which is exactly where the Anunnaki was. Then it spread northward into the Caucasus mountain regions and into what is now eastern Russia, and then into western Europe, and then it moved south concurrently into Palestine, and then into Egypt, then into Greece, and then into Rome, and then into Western Europe, and then it went to the British Isles, and then when all that's filled up, they discovered America, they came over and they filled up the east coast of the United States, and during the 1800s, it was one western migration, they all moved and filled up the whole North American continent. Why was everybody moving? Well, history makes no secret about it. They were all kept moving westward to escape religious and political tyranny. These folks have been trying to grab hold of us since the year 1. And we just moved. Okay? When they got tired of Boss Tweed telling them what to do in New York, they moved to Kentucky. All right? And when they got tired of the Kentucky legislature trying to tell them what to do and how to live, they moved to Kansas. And the same thing happened, then they moved to California. Folks, the problem is there's no place left to go. We can't just run away from them anymore. We've got to stand our ground, and we've got to regain our liberty and freedom as free-born earthlings. Okay?
Costner's Garrison speech, too, about moving the capital a little further west.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here in Texas, I think Texas ought to be, you guys are here in the heart of Texas. You're here in the capital. And, you know, I'm an old reporter. Everything I've ever told you is just, here's the information, you do with it what you want to. And I'm still coming from that standpoint. But I want to encourage you people, get out there and talk. Let's regain control over Texas. I love Texas. Holy cow, what a great place. We got everything you want, and yeah, some stuff you don't want. But we got a great deal going here. We got resources, we got oil and gas, we got mountains, we got forest, we got seacoast, we got tropical thing, we got desert, you name it, we got it. What a great place. Why should we give all this up and let somebody in Zurich or the New World Order headquarters in Colorado tell us how to run this country? Our forefathers came here, they chased Santa Anna out, and this isn't a racial thing, okay? There are millions of Hispanic people in Texas, and they're good Texans. They're our neighbors. They're fine, man. There's African American people living here in Texas, and they're good Texans. And their ancestors It was their blood and sweat that built the place, okay?